I'm Richard Burke. I'm a teacher with the Suaimhneas School of Tai Chi Chuan. We teach in Raheny. We've been teaching there for the last 10 years. I'm part of a worldwide organisation of a school of Tai Chi. We've started practice rounds in the park 3 years ago, and as a result we've the ladies and men both. Anyone that takes lessons with us basically can come along on a Saturday morning and just do a few practice rounds in the park in the sun. As you can see, it's gorgeous. Tai Chi is a system of movement that originated in China. Originally as a martial art, but mainly now practiced for health and relaxation. So when I say system of movement, you can see in the background the people just are moving. They're moving from a low position, so they're exercising their legs. They're moving from their waist. They're keeping straightness. There are principles involved in the movement. So basically it's a system of movement for health and relaxation. It would be considered a soft martial art in that you would not be fighting force with force. What you'd want to be doing is redirecting force. So we, at a later stage in our curriculum, we get on to a stage which we call sensing hands or push hands, where we practice that idea of redirecting force. And it's that aspect of it that we would use if it were to be a martial art or used as a martial art. I used to play rugby years ago, and a friend of mine, we were coming back after a match one day, and it just happened to be coincidental that his brother, his older brother, who is now the senior teacher in the school, was doing a few rounds in his front room, and I kind of went, oh, that's interesting, I'd never seen Tai Chi before. But at the time it wasn't practical for me to do it, so I waited till I was about 32, 33, and the school opened up in Raheny. And I don't know, it was just something that the way people moved and the relaxation of it just appealed to me, and that's where the spark came from. And then obviously the school facilitated teaching, and I ended up going along as a student and then moving on to teaching as well myself.
I and some of the girls here are 7 or 8 years practicing this, and we love it and keep going back to classes. But the park is just beautiful. I mean, look at the trees. Beautiful.
Yeah, but it's not just that, it's also the camaraderie that we all have together. Doing it on your own is different, but when you have, there's a great camaraderie here, and we've built great friendships from just coming here. But it just becomes part of your life, and we do it every day at home. I think most of us do it every morning, and probably in the evening as well. So it's actually a lifestyle, really.
Well, we do have the website. We call ourselves the Suaimhneas School of Tai Chi. It's Irish for I spell it Suaimhneas. It means quiet within, because Tai Chi is also a meditation, so we use our body as a tool for meditation.
This is John. How are you doing? You have you're beekeeping at the minute, are you?
Yeah, I'm a beekeeper. I also do research in honeybees, and today we have an ovulation hive, which is basically about 10% of a normal production hive, and so it allows particularly children to understand what goes on in a normal hive.
Well, that's really interesting. So what does go on in a normal hive then?
Well, a lot goes on. You have a queen who lays eggs. Now it's interesting, 250 years ago, up to 250 years ago, she was called a king, because the boss, the important person in a hive, had to be male. And it was discovered while this male was laying eggs, and so it became then the queen. So that queen lays eggs, about 1,000 per day. All she does is lay eggs. The eggs then are hatch, and they feed the eggs, and after 3 weeks in the cell, the bees, the worker bees, emerge.
Well, it sounds very complex. There's a lot goes on, obviously, in a beehive, yeah. And how did you manage to transport the beehive to the festival?
Well, last night I had to go to my hive and take the observation hive and take a brood frame, which is where the young emerge, and also we call a super frame, where the honey is stored. So we bring it back.
And how long have you been an active beekeeper?
About 25 years.
It's a fair while. How did you get into that in the first place, actually?
Curiosity. Yeah, I'm basically a farming background. I was big into into gardening, horticulture. I'm an engineer, but it's my background. But curiosity, wondered what they were. I liked honey as well. Couldn't get local honey, so I said, do it myself. So that was basically it. And I've also been involved doing research in honeybees.
And tell me a little bit about the research. What have you discovered in more recent research?
Well, my research was on a particular mite of the honeybee, a tracheal mite. It was an exotic mite that caused a lot of problems starting about 100 years ago. So I did a doctorate in Trinity College on this particular mite because it was stated by some that this mite in fact was quite benign and wouldn't kill the colonies. So you had two very famous scientists, one Brother Adam, which many of you will have heard about, Brother Adam. He said it would kill. You had a Dr. Bailey in the UK, who was still alive, is about 100 years of age. He said they wouldn't kill. So I did my research to show that in fact Brother Adam was right.
Wow. And how are what is the situation like in Ireland with bees? Are they endangered? Is there fear of them dying out eventually, or are you trying to keep them alive? What do you feel is your role, and what is their involvement in Ireland? Okay.
The tracheal mite was one of the exotic mites that came. About 20 years ago we had another mite. Again, exotic in this sense that it was brought in to Ireland where our bees had not got any resistance. So this varroa then became the new problem with bees. This varroa not only was a parasite of the bee itself, but it was also vectored, it also carried viruses. And the viruses at the end of the day is what killed our honeybees. Now, our bees in North County Dublin, I'm a member of a thing called North Dublin Beekeepers, I'm the secretary now for about 20 years, and what we have is a very stable population. And our bees now have become tolerant to the mite.
Wow, okay, that's very interesting actually. And tell me anyway, can you buy honey from your stall here today?
I think there's actually a bylaw about selling honey here.
Honey live, okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Listen, John, thank you so much. It's really interesting. And where can we find you? If you come down to the festival, actually, you can find him over number 5 stall. So thank you very much, John. That was brilliant. Yeah, you can stay there for a minute. So earlier on today, Michelle was going around the markets and chatting to some of the people that are actually running the stalls here. So take a look.